Big Six.
My one big thing is the opening and launch of VIA Riyadh, which is a new entertainment, retail, and hospitality district in the capital city, which is, as we know now, and for those of you who just listened to the last segment, if you're just listening to this segment, listen to the segment on Salmani architecture, part of this episode as well. But this is done in the Salmani style, and it's sort of, Richard, sort of like this is now, as the most recently launched piece of architecture and design in this style, is now the sort of front and center of what this architecture is like. So when I said I was going to do this as my one big thing, you were like, that's basically almost my one big thing. And we were like, well, let's overlap it. So this is a new kind of entertainment, retail, and hospitality district right near the diplomatic quarter in Riyadh. It's in the Salmani architecture style. Quote, VIA Riyadh was designed to work in perfect harmony with the local identity of the capital, preserving the unique identity of the city. The ancient stones that formed the famous Tuwaiq mountain in Dhurma, ages ago, were professionally extracted to bring them to the present. The area has a significant place in Saudi history, since it was the birthplace of the second Saudi state in the 1820s. So it's located right next to the DQ, but it has this sort of modern but Salmani feel to it. It's like the sort of sandstone color, stone and glass. And then in this case too, part of the design thesis that Richard just talked about is green spaces and sort of harmony with inside and out. And as we just discussed, that's actually planned. That's part of the design and now sort of part of the rules of this style of architecture. And Richard, it will be interesting. There will probably be some sort of spin-offs of this. Now that this is getting established, there will be, well, this is Neo Salmani, and it's kind of cool. Once you establish something, then it gets its own legs. So at a glance, just looking at the new VIA Riyadh from the outside, it's cool. It's beautiful looking. It was built in 20 months, which is kind of amazing for something so big. So that is fast. The development covers an area of 1.5 million square meters. The shopping mall has a gross leasable area. Is it leasable? Leasable.
I think leasable.
Leasable area of 600,000 square meters, and it has a cinema with 12 screens, which would have been unheard of about 5 years ago. And so it's much of the design and the interior design of some of these luxury brands and cafes that are located in VIA was done by Sud Architects, and I think that's a French architecture company, but the district is also home to Riyadh's first St. Regis Hotel, which will have 200 rooms. I don't think this is totally complete yet, Richard. I tried right before the show to book a room for next week just to see if they're available and to see what they'll look like. And I don't think the website is quite done. It was slated to be done in 2020, but that's coming, and that'll enter Riyadh's 5-star hotel mix. The restaurants, let's talk about food, should be pretty nice. Wolfgang Puck brought his Los Angeles restaurant Spago to VIA Riyadh, which is now open. The stars are really coming out. I'll come back to food in a second. The stars are really coming out to promote this, Richard. We had Ahmed Al-Khatib, Minister of Tourism, tweet late last week that Lionel Messi and his family treated themselves to a delightful selection of international cuisine and luxurious shopping experience at VIA Riyadh. A video promotion featuring Modern Family star Sofia Vergara was unveiled ahead of the opening. So there's like a promo video for this with her in it. I didn't. I just saw that there was a video.
It's really involved. I mean, it's almost like a mini, it's something. They really went all out for that. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that's good. That's good info. I'll have to watch that. She's easy to look at. We've talked a lot about Riyadh as a food town, Richard, coming back to food again. So there'll be Spago from Wolfgang Puck. Then we'll have Gymkhana, an Indian restaurant, Medeo, Italian, Scott's, which is seafood. I mean, all of these restaurants look incredible. All of them will slot into the top tier of Riyadh's dining experiences. Then you have Sexy Fish, Richard, which is Asian fusion.
Sexy Fish.
And then my favorite, and I'm 1,000,000% going to eat there in a week or two if it's open, is Wagyu Mafia, which is a celebration of Wagyu beef. Favorite, and I will be packing an artery there in a few weeks. So yeah, Richard, this isn't a giga project. This isn't some mega development, but this is a meaningful value add to people living in Riyadh and visiting Riyadh. And it's a new tourism destination to those that are in town. So pretty cool.
You're right. It came out and, it happened quickly. And You did mention, and you mentioned so many things. There's so many things going on here. That it also has an exhibition called Seven, which showcases some of the most valuable and rare classic cars in history.
How did I miss that? I feel like I spent a lot of time looking at it. Where
Well,
was
you
that?
did. I mean, well, there's because there's so much. I mean, there's so much, and I know you'd love that. But when I was in Aula, they had an exhibition of all the old cars. So over the decades. So cars going back to the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and so on. And that was, of course, was compelled to go over and look at that. But the other thing that I think is interesting about VIA Riyadh is so much of the new stuff, new social stuff, and things that are attractions are up north in Riyadh. And this is not. This is sort of a little east, a little west rather, down towards the DQ, and so it's an outpost. It's a new outpost in that area, which is always great because it's nice to have distribution of your entertainment and dining hotspots.
100%. We will feature some images and some video of this. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see it here. And I can't really figure it out, but it's to my left. I think that's right. And maybe it's over there. Hopefully, look, 50% chance I get that right, but you'll see it there. It's really cool. And it's just kind of part of this new, like, Riyadh is changing grand theme of this episode and then just everything in Saudi Arabia. And it's kind of cool. I mean, it makes it easier for families to visit from, with traveling businessmen. I mean, like, things like this really add up over time. The other question that I just thought about, Richard, is the new Mukaab, is that Salmani? That's Salmani, right? It's
got that whole Mushrabia effect. I mean,
yeah.
The whole thing has the facade and that sort of thing. I'm guessing in terms of color palette and materials used, it will be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to know. And we have to remember that New Maraba is a huge residential and retail area outside of the Mukaab. So I'm sure all of that will have the green spaces and the rock and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes along. And like you said, just to reiterate on your one big thing, the theme of the episode is Salmani architecture. So when you look at the images that Lucien will put into the video side of this, that's supposed to be representative of of Salmani architecture.
It's edifying doing this, Richard, with you, because I just feel like, I mean, we would kind of do it anyway, but then you get sort of this prompt that forces you into rabbit holes you may not have gone down. And this was a really good one.